Kenya's National Economic Blueprint Vision 2030 is premised on three pillars, namely social, economic, and political pillars. Articles 93, 94, and 95 of the Constitution established Parliament with a clear mandate of representation, legislation, oversight, and budget-making roles that are aimed at providing an enabling environment for all other sectors to thrive. Since 2008, when the National Assembly opened its doors to the public through live broadcast of the plenary sessions, the citizen have steadily followed the debates on the floor, sometimes oblivious of the work that runs concurrently in the committees of Parliament. This is the reason that Liaison Committee of National Assembly launched the Parliamentary Forum for Committees in October.
2 years ago, 31st October 2019, we launched the first Parliamentary Forum for Committees. This was done here in Parliament. We had invited some guests. The Speaker had invited his colleague from the National Assembly of Tanzania, who was a chief guest. We launched a few documents. We launched the Kiswahili version of our standing orders, which we are still using to date. We also launched the Chairperson's Manual. Chairperson's Manual is a manual that basically gives direction to chairs as they run their committees. So we launched that one. We also launched the live coverage of committees. I remember that time we used the Committee on Health to launch that particular one. We wanted a situation whereby we can be able to have the public engage with us, not necessarily by coming to the National Assembly, but even by just clicking on their TV sets at home, and they are able to see what the committees are doing. The last thing that we did, which is actually in our own standing orders, is to launch the reports of the committees, the yearly reports of committees.
In its 2019-2030 strategic plan, the Parliamentary Service Commission made deliberate and strategic policy direction to actualize a people-centered and democratic parliament. The plan employs 7 strategic pillars that will guide the PSC, namely effective representation, legislation and oversight, excellence in service delivery, public trust, embrace and implement an e-parliament, embrace green compliant parliament, provision of modern facilities and secure working environment for members and staff of Parliament, and enhanced and sustained financial base.
If you look at the strategic plan of Parliament, we have 2 key ones which came into play during this period. One of them is the public trust. And we were able to meet with the public. Most of the businesses that we did, we actually conducted the public. We got their views. They were taken into consideration. Even during the consideration of the budget 2021-2022, we still got views from the public, and the issue of the taxes, it was a real active matter. So we actually involved, and the action that were taken by the National Assembly in terms of review of the taxes, the money that had been given out for mitigating against the COVID pandemic issues in the economy, really, worked in our favor, in the sense that we were able to build that trust and work closely with the people.
The strategic objectives on effective representation, legislation and oversight, including public trust, seeks to strengthen devolution and constituency offices among other units for strengthened democratic governance. It focuses on the effectiveness of members of Parliament in discharging their constitutional mandate.
From our own thinking about 4 sets of members in terms of their workings. We have, of course, the chamber active. We, of course, have also the, backroom experts. We also have those ones who are media active. The last group, in my thinking, the group that is also active more in outside the chamber, outside the stations, we call them the gallery-friendly members.
COVID-19 pandemic significantly affected the business of the House as the health crisis quickly morphed into an economic, human resource, as well as governance upheaval.
Like every other, sector of the Kenyan public, we have been affected a great deal. We have had quite a number of members who are affected directly, who are infected with COVID. We have had members, we have lost a few members. In fact, we have lost a member of Liaison Committee. So this is a matter that has really put us back in terms of our legislative programs. With COVID, just before COVID, we could be able to allow all members of public who are interested in participating in committees and even generally coming to chamber were allowed as long as they are, accredited properly. Unfortunately, since COVID started, we are not able to bring as many members of public to Parliament as we would have wished. We are not able to allow them. We were not, especially at one point, able to allow them to attend committees. So it is an issue that has really affected us a great deal. Our legislative programs were slowed down. The number of members we were allowing to come to committees or even to the chamber were reduced, and therefore it was a big issue for us.
Enforced remote working and social distancing led to suspended and later reduced sittings. Rapid innovation spurred the change required to accelerate Parliament's digital transition, ensuring the work of Parliament stays on course.
I want to say that we really need to thank the Parliamentary Service Commission, which is chaired by the Speaker himself. The Speaker and his team have, of course, caused the members to be vaccinated. And I think as we speak, members and members of staff have been vaccinated close to about 98%.
One other objective is the pillar is the one of e-Parliament. It came into play, I can tell you, because immediately when the speakers ruled that we are going to have a hybrid chamber and committees, in-person attendance by some few members and others virtually, we now really had to use technology to leverage on ICT to carry our businesses.
Parliament is one of the three arms of government mandated to make laws.
Order number 9, motion, sessional paper number 1 of 2021 on the National Water Policy.
Parliament's most visible task of enacting legislation takes place during plenary sessions.
We have, of course, the chamber active. Those ones who speak all the time in the chamber, they are very good at placing their cards, and therefore you can be able to pick them very easily. Very vocal in the House, extremely vocal, and especially during the normal debate. These are members that you can easily pick. They would speak about everything and anything, and they do it well.
The handling of a proposed legislation begins with a preliminary debate in a plenary session. When a bill is read a first time,
Order number 8, the Higher Education Loans Board Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 37 of 2020, first reading.
it stands committed to the relevant committees for consideration. After 21 days, the committee is required to table its report on the said bill, which will inform debate in the House during the second reading stage of the bill, where members debate on it.
Order number 9, the Employment Amendment number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 79 of 2019, second reading.
Thereafter, there is committee of the whole House, where proposed amendments to the bill are passed and incorporated.
I propose the question that clause 1 be amended as proposed by the Leader of Majority. I put the question that clause 1 be amended as proposed by the Leader of Majority. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
The bill is then read a third time.
I go on to propose the question, which is that the National Hospital Insurance Fund Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 21 of 2021 be now read a third time.
And finally, the vellum is processed for presidential assent. To ensure optimal utilization of resources available, Parliament discharges most of its day-to-day activities through committees.
I would like to emphasize that when it comes to liaison committee, looking at its functions, the liaison committee can be said to be the engine which coordinates all other committees as they perform their functions. Without the liaison committee, then committee system would not work effectively, I dare say.
The 33 committees fall under the broad categories of departmental, select, and financial audit committees. Committees are a vital tool in the working process of legislatures, without which the proceedings of a legislature could grind to a halt for the sheer volume of activities that would have to be considered at plenary. Committees are agents which enable legislators to organize their work in such a way as to perform numerous activities simultaneously and expeditiously.
What we are doing in this particular, forum for committees, we are trying to pick out those ones who are very active at the committee level, those ones who are the backroom experts, because we consider these are the people who actually legislate better than any of the other sets of members. So that's what we are trying to do, to showcase what committees do, what members do in committees, and also we are trying to demystify the workings of Parliament so that the public should not judge us basically by what we say in Parliament, but also what we do. Because legislation is actually about doing, and that is actually the core mandate of the National Assembly.
To strengthen the process of legislation, the committees charged with the responsibility of legislation continue to develop and draft legislative proposals and subsidiary legislation to facilitate the publication of legislative proposals, conduct public participation, engage on bills before the Houses, and render legal advice on legislative enactment process. Through legislation, Parliament manifests the diversity of the nation, represents the will of the people, and exercises their sovereignty.
We have had much more meetings. We have had much more interactions within the committees and even outside to the members of the Assembly. I think we have done well. I think we have done well this far.
Parliamentary oversight includes systematic tracking and scrutinizing governance activities, policies, and programs, assessing whether they meet the intended objectives of legislation, policy frameworks, and development plans.
The wheat season is over. The maize season is almost getting over. We are going to December, and yet you have not even bought one grain of maize.
This is usually carried out by parliamentary committees which conduct investigations into particularly important aspects of their policy and administration. This role requires adequate tools to uncover and scale up the actions of the executive to ensure optimal standards of political and administrative accountability are consistently achieved. Kenya has developed mechanisms that meet the Interparliamentary Union and Africa Union standards. This includes having members from the minority party head the sensitive public accounts, public investments, and implementation committees.
And I must thank committees. They have done a lot of work for the country during this period. Oversight, the issues of KEMSA, the issues of the money that had been given out to mitigate against COVID. They have been able to sit and interact with the various ministries and government agencies to ensure that implementation is done for the action that has been taken by the House. And
good governance as a precursor to sustainable development and democracy calls for increased transparency and accountability. The committees under presidential systems are ascribed mainly to the practice of separation of powers and therefore have better standing in providing a less partisan atmosphere in which members conduct inquiry with less control from the executive branch of government. Such inquiry usually results in a report of Parliament. Most inquiries will have terms of reference which set out the matter to be considered by Parliament.
To me, it comes to three things. One, as in medicine, we dispense, and the most important person is that pharmacy or pharmtech that tells you don't take this with milk, don't take this on empty stomach, and all that. What I hear from you submitting is that There's nothing like that. It's businessmen. You're just on your own with your own information. That should not happen.
The Constitution of Kenya 2010 altered the system of government from mixed breed to purely presidential. Some of the major changes the Constitution brought included the creation of a bicameral House and the creation of 47 new counties. The number of representatives increased from 290 to 418 members, and this includes elected representatives of the people and nominated members to represent political parties, special interest groups of youth, persons with disability, and women.
In a presidential system of government, committee system is the cornerstone. You know, all business must go to committees before they come to the plenary for affirmation. And you remember we were sitting on a Tuesday. At the beginning we were sitting once a week, but thereafter we were sitting on a Tuesday and on a Thursday. And most of the work then were going on in committees, and we are very happy with the work the committees have done. And I think during this forum, that will come out clearly what the committees have done for the country. I will only ask members of the public to continue interacting with us, sending their memorandum whenever we ask for them to make comments, because we take them into consideration.
Integrity, transparency, and accountability are some of the national values and principles of governance as provided for in Article 10 of the Constitution. Additionally, it is an essential ingredient for efficient service delivery in all sectors of the economy. In keeping with the separation of powers and respect for public institutions and their functions, the Parliamentary Committees vet the nominees and report back to the House to approve or reject the nominees and forward the names of the successful candidates to the President for appointment.
This House approves the appointment of Honorable Justice Martha Karambu Koome as Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye.
Public participation is the cornerstone of good governance. It is through the Departmental Committees that Parliament has developed mechanisms enabling public engagement where members of Parliament interact and involve the public and various stakeholders in the work of Parliament. Committees hold hearings and meetings that provide the democratic opportunity for various interest groups who include academicians, professionals, and individual citizens with varied expertise to participate by presenting their views on a range of issues.
We've also found out poor workmanship and shortcut by contractors.
One of the areas which really hit us during the COVID pandemic at the beginning was the issue of public participation. We normally have children and visitors come into Parliament. In one of the Speaker's protocols and the measures, we barred them so that, to reduce the social distancing. We would invite witnesses to appear before committees. This now had to change. We more relied now on the media, advertisement in the media, in the print media, and also through emails and social media issues like WhatsApp and all that, to be able to get, and interestingly, there were actually active participation by the public. They didn't turn up, but they were able to send a lot of information. When government officers were invited to appear before main committees like Public Accounts Committee, Public Investments Committee, Special Fund, normally they would come with a lot of documents. The Speaker had to issue a communication on how to handle documents during this period of COVID.
The budget-making process is the most important economic policy tool of a government in explaining its priorities. As the representative of people, Parliament is liable for ensuring that the budget best matches the citizens' needs. This power is predominantly important at times of fiscal consolidation that demands deliberate prioritization and oversight of the budget expenditures.
Mr. Speaker, it is once again a privilege for me to present to this Honorable House and the people of Kenya highlights of the budget policy and the revenue-raising measures for the financial year 2021-22.
The Budget and Appropriations Committee therefore reviews the budget policy statement and estimates and makes recommendations to Parliament based on a variety of factors. 2019-2020 have been particularly difficult years due to challenges posed by COVID-19. This is the committee that introduces the Appropriations Bill in Parliament. The Parliamentary Service Commission fosters cooperation with the national government through the National Treasury to ensure requisite resources are available to accomplish set goals.
There was also the question of the economic stimulus that came in, where the government had to take a number of measures to mitigate against the effect on the economy. One of them was review of taxes. Money had to be allocated to a number of key ministries and departments and agencies to support the economy and the people who are facing challenges in the country. And through the Ministry of Health and the Committee on Health, a number of allocations were made specific for PPEs, for hospitals. I remember the specific amount were put to a number of referral hospitals, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, Kenyatta University, Kitui, Mombasa, among others, and even Cambridge. A specific amount of money was put to assist them, even payment of allowances to employees during this period. And we were lucky that because of the measures that were put in place as an institution, we were able to carry on our business. Things are a bit normalizing now, although we are still being required to strictly follow the COVID protocols to ensure our business in the house is done.
Parliament also has the critical role in ensuring that the international and regional instruments are domesticated and implemented at national level. Parliament provides the requisite mechanism to enforce these international standards through the oversight mechanism. Article 26 provides that any treaty, convention or resolution ratified by the state shall become the law of Kenya. The Parliamentary Service Commission exists to facilitate the members of Parliament to undertake their constitutional mandate. To achieve this, the Parliamentary Service Commission strives to provide a myriad of services to ensure a conducive working environment for both members and staff. While the members are key stakeholders, the Commission prides itself on strong linkages, partnerships, and collaborations with other institutions in providing the enabling environment for them to represent, oversight, legislate, and appropriate resources in a more effective manner.
In the long run, and I think there is need now to have live coverage of committee sittings. We have tried, but we have not been able to fully do it because we didn't have facilities. I'm happy the Parliamentary Service Commission now is finishing the new tower, the office tower for members of Parliament, which will have around 12 committee rooms for the members of the National Assembly committees. And they are fully equipped with all the conference facilities. It will now be possible for us to really cover live the committee proceedings because that is where a lot of work is done.
While they help to organize the most important work of Parliament by considering, shaping, and passing laws to govern the nation, committees of the House provide the perfect forum for building consensus across political parties. They form building blocks for the bedrock on which legislation is crafted and democracy accomplished.
My vision is that we should be able to move the liaison committee up higher as we go forward. We want to improve at every new liaison committee. We'll be going to the next liaison committee of the 13th Parliament. We hope that we will have created some foundation for them to be propelled even better.